around 2 years ago, I would wake up at maybe like 4:30, 5 in the morning, and I was already 30 minutes late for work. I was working this warehousing job, which was basically pure slavery. Do you see these like shipping containers? Maybe you're on the road, you will see these containers where they basically ship stock from like China to like the US, Australia, whatever. There's basically when these shipping containers get shipped, there's a guy like me, or like the older version of me, who would go inside, open the little container up, and literally start taking like thousands and thousands of boxes out of that container, putting it on a pallet so they can get distributed through like the whole country or the city or whatever. So that's my job. I was 18, 19, I believe, and I was waking up at early in the morning, 4:35 a.m., and I was already late. It was middle winter. And I would literally wake up and I'm like, another day of just being a slave. And I remember I would go to the kitchen, and for some reason, the first thing I would do is just like eat Nutella. I think almost out of the jar. I couldn't tell you why. I was just a zombie. I was just an NPC, and I would wake up to like just eating that Nutella for some reason. Or I'd make Wheat Bix, which is kind of like old cereal thing here in Australia. And I would put that in Nutella and I would just eat that. And that was like kind of my first source of dopamine, of happiness. Because like otherwise I wouldn't have the motivation to go literally slave away for the next 10, 12 hours. So yeah, I do that. I don't pray, of course, because like, why would I, I was just in that state. Not trying to expose my sins, but that's just kind of what life was like back then. And I remember like literally just doing that, kind of getting ready, putting on like these dirty clothes and going to work. I remember I almost like crashed one time as well. Like there was two roads and I was on this side going that way. There were cars coming from that way. It was like traffic, right? Because it was like peak hour kind of. All the other wages were going to work with me. And for some reason, this guy, like I can't even remember what happened. I was very much sleep deprived. I didn't really know what was going on. But this guy randomly swerved into my lane. I literally cannot remember what happened. But I remember this guy just coming. And for some reason, like I put my car, like I swerve out the way to not hit him, and I almost went over into the other lane. There was a bit of this very small barrier, and I got onto the barrier, and then I got back. Like I literally don't know what happened. But yeah, I almost like literally went and ran into the other side of the road. So that's kind of what it was, right? It was the middle of winter, you'd go, and I was only like 18, 19, right? I was probably 18 actually. So I was pretty weak, and you'd have to open this container up with these like big like pliers things. And I usually couldn't do it because like, I don't know, it was actually pretty tough. But yeah, that's what I would do. And I would literally be in this container going back and forth, usually with someone else, for the next 8, 10, even like 12 hours at times of literally just going back and forth, back and forth. You'd pick a few boxes up, you'd put them on a pallet, you'd take the pallet out, you'd wrap it up, and you just do that over and over and over again. And like your manager will be like, yeah, go faster. Yeah, guys, let's see how many containers we can do. Because the more containers you would do, the more money you would make. But it was basically like BS. You ended up making basically like 30 an hour, even like 27 an hour. Usually that was the rate. So it's pretty cooked. And yeah, I would literally just do that back and forth, back and forth. You'd get a bit of a break, and then you do it again and again. And now, alhamdulillah, my life is a lot different. And I remember I would come back from that work literally super tired. It was like 3-4 days in a row of just doing the same thing over and over again. I would hear the forklift and the work noises in my head, even though I was at home. They would just be playing in my head. I would just literally lay in bed. It was like winter. I would just lay in bed, maybe like scroll a little bit. I don't even know what I was doing. I was literally a zombie, a literal NPC. And yeah, that's how life was for that little bit of time. And now, alhamdulillah, I don't work a job. I have my own business, alhamdulillah. And I have complete freedom. I can wake up whenever I want to. Like I don't need to wake up and eat Nutella, because I find fulfillment. I find joy from the work I'm doing, from literally just running my business. And I literally get to basically do whatever I want, alhamdulillah. And honestly, I would love to tell you, yeah, bro, I'm so special. I work so hard for this, blah, blah. But anyone can make that transition from working that job they hate, from not being in the position they want to be in and all this stuff, and make that switch, make that transition, and start living the life they want. And the first step is to actually open up your eyes and look at the possibilities of life. Like, it is possible for you to change, for you to live a completely different reality. And I remember when I was like 13, 14, 15, I would watch, like, for some reason I started watching Grant Cardone videos. And it was very interesting. It was basically like this white millionaire. He was selling a course of some sort. I remember, like, it's Grant Cardone, he's a G. And he would have all these like cars, etc. And I was like, oh, you know, like I could live this life too, right? Like I could be a millionaire too, blah, blah. I could have a Rolls Royce too. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I genuinely believed I could be that guy. Like, I genuinely believed I could be a millionaire. So even when I was working this job and I was in uni and all of this stuff, I was reading books. I can't remember the book name, but I was reading a bunch of these books. The 4-Hour Work Week. I would literally, before work started, you know, they'd usually have you like wait in like the break room before like your shift started. So you'd come up earlier, like 10, 15 minutes. And I would literally just be on my phone. I remember it was my little iPhone 12 mini. It's not here, but it was a very small phone. I would just read on Kindle a little bit, you know, the 4-Hour Work Week, all of this stuff, because I believed that I could make it happen. That I believed that I didn't have to just choose the normal path. I just didn't have to work that job, and things could change. That my life could change, because it can change. It's literally just about the action you do. So the first thing you can do is just start learning about different things. Watching YouTube videos like this is obviously a good start, but taking it to the next level, reading, investing into some form of mentorship. Like, bro, I've spent almost like $15,000, $20,000 into just courses and mentorships, communities, all of this stuff. And look, not all of them were great. Not all of them changed my life. But the fact that I was willing to bet on myself in a way, to invest in myself in a way, gave me the confidence. Like, of course I'm going to hit 10K a month. Of course I'm going to do this. Of course I'm going to do this, because I've sacrificed my own hard-earned money. I've gone all in for it. So just start learning. And the thing about learning is that the reason you're not achieving your goals, you're not living the life you want to live, is either one, because you don't know what to do or how to get there. You lack the knowledge. Or number two, you haven't put in the work for long enough. You haven't taken the right actions for long enough. But you can never get to number two. You can never get to the work, the action, and doing it for the right time and doing it the right way until you, number one, have the knowledge. I remember even when I was working that warehousing job, I was reading a good amount. I don't even read that much now. But I was reading a lot. I was watching a lot of these like entrepreneurial YouTube videos, like Hamza, all this stuff. I was watching it a lot. And I was reading everything. I was just trying to learn. I didn't know what my next step was going to be, but I knew there was another way. Like at the time I was still in uni, right? I was doing like this engineering thing. So technically this warehousing job wasn't going to be forever, right? I was going to be like a cool little engineer, wagey brokey, making like 6 figures a year or something. So it's not like that's what my life is going to be, but I still had bigger aspirations. I still had bigger ambitions. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn this, learn that, blah, blah, blah. I was just learning things, just taking knowledge, opening my eyes up to the possibilities of the world, to different realities. And when the time came, I was able to take action on it. I remember because of this job, I had a little bit of cash saved up, and I bought like this $750 program, which is pretty crap. I wouldn't say it was crap, but I just didn't use it for some reason. It was basically for an agency, but I didn't end up using it much, so it was pretty BS. That was literally a waste of $750 now that I think about it. But yeah, I literally bought that. I was someone who was going to invest in himself. I didn't even know what this whole thing was. I didn't even trust the guy that much. I remember I literally just paid $750 over like a website link. I was like, all right, this will help me, whatever. Like, I just did it because I believed that it would work, and I knew that I needed the knowledge. I knew I needed to learn things so I could take the right action. Again and again, I tried, okay, dropshipping isn't working. Let's do agency. Let's try this thing. Let's try that thing. Before something stuck. Before I remember, I learned about high ticket sales. I landed my first role. Then I started my own personal brand, started my own business. Whatever it is, I kept myself open to things, open to different possibilities, and learned the right things. And from there, number 3 was just about executing, taking relentless action. And I'm going to be very honest with you. This was something that was hard for me at the start, at least, because I didn't have the discipline. I didn't have mainly the right mindset. I didn't understand that, look, the money's going to come, but what I need to do, what I need to focus on is the actual inputs. Detach from everything that I want, right? The 10K a month, the Lamborghini, Bugatti, all of that. Just forget about that. Forget about what reality you want and focus on the input, focus on the process, and just fall in love with the game, fall in love with working. Because honestly, even if I had the Lamborghini, everything I wanted, I would probably still dedicate a lot of my time, a lot of my existence on just working, on just going to the gym, on having a good diet, all of this stuff. And I promise you, that's where you're going to find the fulfillment from. That is what you really want. You want to have control, freedom of your life, and you're focusing on the right things. You're focused on the grind. So fall in love with that while trusting Allah. I promise you, if you have the right intentions, if you are consistently making dua, you're putting in the action, the work on a consistent basis, you will end up achieving the output, the goal you want to achieve after a consistent and long enough time. It might take 3 months, it might take 6 months, it might take 2 years. Like, bro, I tried to make money online for like 2-3 years. Like, oh yeah, guys, I want to do it. Like I said, I bought this course, didn't work. I just kept going through it, just kept trying and trying and trying. And the reason that I can actually make money now, like we're up 8K in revenue in the last like 2 days. Why is that? Because I fundamentally changed as a person, because I believed there was another world out there. There was a different reality in which I existed. I learned relentlessly. I sacrificed my money. I sacrificed everything to just learn new information. And then I put in the work. I took action, which allowed me to fundamentally change and achieve the things I wanted to achieve. And I'm doing that again and again to get to the next level. Because I'm not a millionaire right now. I'm not like someone like, oh yeah, guys, look at my Bugatti, guys. No, I'm just relatively still kind of very, very similar. I'm just a few steps ahead from where I used to be. And this is the thing. If you are just willing to, like I said, believe that other things exist, that another reality exists, you'll learn, and you just take action with the right intention while trusting Allah. You detach from the output and focus on the input. You will win.